advisory and financial planning services are offered through Simplicity Wealth, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. SEC registration does not constitute nor endorse of the firm, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill nor ability. Investing involves risk of loss. Insurance, consulting, and education services offered through Diamond Life Planning is a separate and unaffiliated entity from Simplicity Wealth. This information is provided as a general information that is not intended to be specific financial guidance. Before you make any decisions regarding your personal financial situation, you should consult a financial or tax professional to discuss your individual circumstances and objectives.
Welcome to the Rock My Finances show on K4HD Radio and Talk4 TV, where we put the fun in finance. Join Powerhouse Jennifer Joseph, CDFA, CMC, and Private Wealth Advisor, as she collaborates with you to create clarity, control, and confidence with your money, your way. It's not about the zeros, so what is it all about? Let's find out. Now here's your host and weekly friend, Jennifer Joseph.
Welcome back. Here we are again. Okay, this one's going to be good. Financial red flags in relationships. Now, you might already been married for decades and decades. Obviously, this is a little too late for you. But someone else newly in a relationship or attempting a new relationship, or maybe even wanting to just know about your kids and who your kids are going to be hooking up with and getting in relationships with. So it's always good information, right? Okay. The interesting thing about red flags is that we often don't see them because we're looking through the lens of hope, right? We see potential. We see chemistry. We feel chemistry. We see possibilities. And sometimes we explain away behaviors that actually deserve a closer look. So now let us be clear. In this episode, we're not talking about judging people. We're talking about awareness, because every one of us has our flaws. And some of my flaws might not bother you, but somebody else's flaws might bother me, right? So there's always a good fit for the shoe, right? Every one of us has financial habits that we're all working on. We have all habits that we're working on. The goal is not perfection. The goal is understanding the differences between the green flag, the pink flag, and the red flag. So green flags obviously go. Pink flags are kind of red, not quite sure. And the red flags are, I don't think so. So let's talk about green flags first, because you know me, I like the positivity, I like the love part. So signs of financial health. Let's start with the good stuff. Behaviors that create trust and stability. A green flag doesn't mean someone is wealthy. A green flag means that they are financially responsible and emotionally mature. Examples may be pays bills on time, talks openly about money, admits mistakes, might even share some things that they've learned, maybe has some financial goals that said, I will be retiring so-and-so, or, I'm buying a second house, or I'm buying a third house, or I have a beach house, and now I want a mountain house. I mean, all of these are responsibility things, right? Takes responsibility, lives within their means. I don't know how you could know that on the first dating things, but, respects your financial boundaries. Doesn't pressure you financially when you get deeper into the relationship. Has a willingness to learn, right? Actually is willing to learn, like to hear you, to understand you, and to learn more. You might be able to teach someone like they can teach you something, right? It's always nice to learn from your partner. But if nobody ever wants to learn anything from you, is not listening to anything that you're saying, I'm not sure about how that's going to work. So we definitely want someone to be willing to learn the way you do things. Notice none of these require a six-figure income. If they just ask in interesting questions, okay, that's great. I love that. There's no pressure financially. When you say, okay, I'm one that likes to be on time. If they respect that, okay, that's healthy, right? I don't want to say, you're not going to know if they're living within their means in the beginning, right? But when they take responsibility for, like, if you say, that's one of my triggers, when you say you're going to call me by Friday to set up the date on Sunday, and then they don't do that, it's nice to say, that I would appreciate if you could do that. And they say, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Next time I will absolutely do that. I'm taking your time into consideration. And then they do it from now on. That's great. That's a great sign, right? So here's some homework. Make a list of 5 green flags that are important to you, meaning what do you want? Honesty, responsibility, transparency, generosity, accountability. Do you want, if you're a woman and you want to date men and you want them to pick up the tab, that might be important to you. Maybe you want to be flexing your individually and you only want to be splitting the tab, whatever it might be. Like, is that happening? Write these things down. You want to talk about this before. And then ask yourself, do I demonstrate these traits myself? So what is someone else going to think of me and my money? Because healthy relationships usually start with becoming the type of partner we are seeking. So we want to look at ourselves. How do I betray myself financially to someone else, to a stranger? Okay, number 2, we're going to talk about pink flags. These are areas that need more intrigue, I say, more curiosity, just a little bit more conversation. Pink flags are not deal breakers. They're not red flags. And they're not green flags because we're not sure what they are yet. They're just simply, they deserve some attention. Examples. Significant student loans. They might be talking about, all their student loans. They might be a doctor, a dentist, or whatever they might be doing. And that's just a pink flag, because if they have a great payment plan and they have goals and times that it's going to be paid off, that's great. But you might not know that in the beginning. A pink flag is a recent divorce, or not even a complete divorce, right? I always say the first year after divorce, you are completely someone different than you are during the divorce and the year after. So I would always give it at least a year after a divorce before I started really dating someone. Financial education gaps. So what do they know? Like if you're talking about something that you know about financial things and they say they have no clue about that, okay, that's okay. Not everybody knows everything. But if that happens often, that might be, okay, I need to look at this a little bit more. Maybe they're the ostrich. Maybe they just don't even hear about money, talk about money. That might be a pink flag. Different spending habits. Like, are they always going to want to go the cheap way out and you always want to go to the 5-star? There's got to be balance. Is there balance? Or are you seeing things that, they're driving like a really, really, really old car because they're so frugal and it's got miles and it's great. But, the mirror's falling off and there's rips in the seats and, things like that. When they might have the money I'm not saying they don't have the money to fix it, but they might be just so frugal that they don't want to spend money on that. That might be telling you something, that they're not putting their comfort first. And that might be different for you. So that is definitely a pink flag for someone. Different money priorities. Are they always going to, the less inexpensive places, or are they always taking you to 5-star things and making you feel uncomfortable? Maybe someplace that you cannot do the same. So you would, you think of things to do, like go on a picnic or cook a whole meal because you can't keep up with their wealth. I mean, it could be that way as well, right? Recovering from financial mistakes. I've met a lot of gentlemen that, had a divorce and they're saying they had to start all over after their divorce. Okay, that's not necessarily a red flag, but it's just something that we need to be aware of. Can they start all over? Can they recoup that? Can they live the life that they've wanted, right? Credit challenges that they're actively fixing. Have they talked about, I'm fixing my credit score? Have they discussed that? Not necessarily a bad thing. Credit score, as business owners, we always have credit that goes up and down. So that's just a pink flag to be aware of. It's not necessarily dangerous, right? We just want to see, are they taking responsibility for it? And is someone working on the problem, or are they just hiding and denying it? So here's some homework. Let's think about the pink flags that you've had in your own life. Currently, in the past, I can even look at every decade, what pink flags I've had every decade. So ask yourself, what was I learning during that pink flag? How did I grow? And what support would have helped me? This exercise helps us develop compassion without abandoning good judgment. Part 3, behaviors that deserve attention. Okay, these are our red flags. Boom, boom, boom. We all got red flags, right? So these are genuine red flags. These behaviors can create serious financial and emotional harm. You might not know it right off, so you just want to kind of be aware of these. Secret spending. Like if you find something, maybe you move in with your person and you see some bags that are hidden in the closet, or you didn't know that they were using your Uber account, or it could be anything like that. Just secret spending. A hidden debt. for some reason you ran across a bill or something that was, $4,000 or $5,000 on a credit card you didn't know they had, lying about money. You might catch them in something like, I got paid this, I got paid that. And then you see the bank statement and they didn't get that payment, or they didn't sell that house or whatever for that. Gambling problems, like if they're always gone. I have actually run into this a couple times in my career that I've had gambleholics as spouses. Not me, but my clients. And it was devastating. It was very, very much devastating because they didn't know until it was absolutely too late. So you want to be aware of that. And believe me, those troubles are going to come into other areas, right? Addiction's addiction. Refusing to talk about finances, huge red flag. Like there's a certain time that you need to start talking about money, especially if you're spending if you're committed and you're together, you're monogamous, you're trying to really get to know this person to see if you want them in your life, and you're spending weekends together and maybe 1 or 2 nights during the week. And so 2-3 months go by and they're still not discussing finances with you. Well, you can't really move forward with somebody and plan your life if you don't know what's happening and what they have and the income and when they want to retire and things like that, right? Constant financial emergencies. That is just a huge red flag, expecting others to always rescue them. And you're going to hear that in a lot of different terminology that people might use. Repeated borrowing. Again, any borrowing for me is a red flag. Financial manipulation. Like, I never said that. Or, well, when you said that, like you did that or you said that. And it's like, wait a minute, I did not say that. That's not even anything there. So there's manipulation that can be going on. Using money to control decisions. This happens a lot with wealthy people, unfortunately. They feel like if they're going to buy the whole vacation or dinner or, movie and a dinner or the whole day, that there's, I don't want to say quid pro quo, but that they get to decide where you eat now because they bought the hotel for the weekend or whatever. So now they just kind of take over and they might not even realize that they're doing it. So that's a red flag for you to speak up for sure, right? A lot of them do know that they're doing it, and that's why they want to pay for everything because they want to be able to control everything. Pressuring you to combine finances way too quick. We should not be combining finances unless you're living together and have one checking account for that household, and that's it. You keep your money, they keep their money. There's no reason to combine finances unless you're brand new, in your 20s getting married for the first time. Absolutely, that's totally fine. And you should know everyone's past credit card debt, student loans, all that. You should know everything and how they spend money, right? Asking for loans in a relationship. No, I would never do that. Would never accept that either. That's a huge red flag. Refusing accountability. Now, this can show up in many different areas. I said this or did that. And you never said that, or, well, I didn't know you meant that, or whatever. And just not accepting responsibility and accountability for either hurting your feelings or being late, or it could be anything, right? But that's going to show up with money as well. So one red flag doesn't automatically mean someone's a bad person, but pattern does matter. So we need to just be aware of it. Repeated behaviors matter. Honesty matters. So here's your homework. We love homework, don't we? Write down what financial behaviors would cause me to pause and ask more questions. So that's the pink flags, right? What's going to make me pause and get curious? So I'm not necessarily going to end the relationship. I'll probably have another date, but I want to ask more questions. Then when you're in the relationship more, you can ask deeper questions. Not necessarily end, but just slow down. Awareness is your friend. Part 4, why we miss red flags. Well, this is where things get interesting. Often it's not the red flag, but it's the issue why we ignore it is the most thing that I want you to get out of it right now. We just don't want to be alone. We're dealing with the potential and the what ifs, and we believe that we can fix someone and rescue them and help them. Codependence. I'm talking to you all. Or we just really get our security and get our everything from a relationship. Like, you want to see how they see you. You see yourself how they see you instead of just seeing yourself through your own eyes. There's a lot of people that way as well. Sometimes in our own wounds make us overlook warning signs. So if I've said, okay, this is my boyfriend, I've introduced him to everyone. He's hanging around. My friends know him. And then I see a red flag or a pink flag or whatever. Sometimes we overlook that because now it's going to be embarrassing to tell these people that I've just introduced him to that, oh yeah, he did have a financial issue, back in the day or whatever. And then you kind of got to tell people why he's not in your life anymore. And that's, I'm talking about for me, if it was me. So that could be embarrassing. So I could stay longer than normal because I wouldn't want that embarrassment. So your homework to make sure that this does not happen is complete this sentence. The red flag I am most likely to ignore is. That's after the homework that you've already done, right? What red flags have you ignored in the past, or pink flags that you've ignored in the past? What one are you more likely to ignore now? And then answer it, why? Why is that red flag something that I'm most likely to ignore? This is where the healing begins. Sorry. Yes, we want you to heal for sure. We want to see it. No one's shaming, blaming you at all. We just want to see it. Okay, part 5, your red flags. This may be uncomfortable, but we all have them. The goal isn't to evaluate everyone else. The goal is self-awareness. So maybe your flags might be avoiding money concerns or even talking about money, right? Overspending, not asking questions, people pleasing, codependence, financial anxiety. Like it just turns your stomach to even talk about money. Lack of boundaries. People's just walking all over you, asking for loans. You're paying for everything. Oh, I forgot my wallet trick. Oh, my keys are in the other car. Can you drive? Anything like that. And then let me pick you up. Let me take you to the restaurant. Let me take you to the concert, right? So we want to know about all that. The healthiest relationship happens when both people are willing to grow. So that's a value. That's one of my biggest values, is willing to grow. I am a lifelong learner and I'm always going to grow and I'm always going to do better. If someone is not trying to grow, they're not going to be a good fit for me because I do a lot of analyzing. I do a lot of digging deep and regurgitating, for lack of a better word, the day, right? What did I say? What did I do? What did I spend? How are my joy? How are my emotions? So here's some homework for yourself. What financial behavior am I currently working on? And then ask yourself, what small improvement can I make this week? So let's say you have credit card debt or student loan debt or a car debt that you don't want. What behavior are you working on now? So that would mean not saying yes. For me, it would be not saying yes to everything that pops up. That's going to be $10 here, $20 here, $30 here, $40 here. We have so many activities at my community that I'm in. Like every Friday, we get this whole new list of all these things to do. We got a comedian show, we got a chef, we got a wine dinner. I mean, I could spend $1,000 a month on all these extra things. So what behavior am I currently working on? Just say no. That's where I'm at now. It's not doing every single thing that's out there. So how can I make that an improvement this week? Is not looking at that email. I'm just going to let that pass by because it's hard to say no when you see all the fun stuff. So I'm just going to let that pass by for now. Okay, part 6, financial boundaries. They're not walls, they're just guidelines. Healthy boundaries sound like I don't lend money while dating. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to be nice on this podcast, but let me tell you right now, if anybody asked me to borrow money, I'd get up and walk out. I know I'm a bitch for sure. Don't even, right? Co-signing loans. No, we do not do that. I do not combine finances quickly. See how I'm saying I need transparency before making financial commitments. Like I'm owning this. I'm not saying, well, maybe we could, let's see if, no, I don't lend money, period. I need transparency. Healthy people respect boundaries. And especially when you say them clear, sorry, that doesn't work for me. I don't do that. Nope, that's okay. People who become angry about reasonable boundaries often reveal valuable information for you. So here's your homework. Write down these 3 financial boundaries. Example, freaking all these, right? I don't lend money. I don't co-sign. I don't combine finances. I don't combine finances at all at my age. I would not do that at all. So what else? Let's see. 3 financial boundaries. Good question. Those are good, right? I'd have to think about that a little bit more. And then it would be like phase 1 of dating, phase 2, phase 3, that kind of thing. These are really good conversations to have with adult kids that are dating as well. All right, part 7, healing the root cause. The most important lesson today is red flags aren't just about other people. They're also about us. We've explained betrayal, abandonment, financial trauma, divorce, loss, heartbreak, and you may react in one of 2 ways. We could ignore the signs, or we can see signs everywhere. And the first date is like, I don't know. He did this, he did that. Oh my gosh, she didn't talk. She didn't do this. She didn't touch my hand, yada, yada. We can go really, really crazy with this as well. So we just want to be aware. Neither extreme serves us. Healing helps us respond instead of just react. Healing helps us trust ourselves again. I talk to some clients sometimes, and they are so worried and in fear. They're not ready to date. They're just not ready to find that next relationship. We have to have some good sense and confidence in our own selves before we bring somebody else inside this crazy monkey mind. So healing ourselves distinguish between the green flags, the pink flags, and the red flags. The final homework in the relationship audit is create 3 columns: green, pink, and red. We want to write down behaviors that is going to help you feel safe and help you trust for the green flags. And the pink flags, we want to know what requires more conversation and understanding. And then what would require more stronger boundaries underneath the red flags? So just make a list of all those flags that come to mind, or, the things that you've received in the past. And then we want to say, okay, what do we want to pay attention to? Many people focus only on red flags, and then they miss healthy partners. So we don't want to just focus on green either, because then, we ignore the important warnings. So our goal is balance. It's okay to have a little bit of everything. We just want to see it all. So in our closing here today, financial red flags are not about fear. They're about awareness, about ourselves and someone else. The purpose is not to judge anyone. That's not what we're doing. The purpose is just to make wiser decisions and to be able to trust ourselves enough to trust our gut and our intuition. We must trust ourselves. We want to honor our boundaries. So if we don't even know what they are until we start dating, well, then chemistry gets involved, and they're touching them and their hand, and, we get the giggles and, all that's fun. So that can take away the clarity around your boundaries. So we need to know what we need to heal. We need to create relationships built on trust, honesty, communication, and above all, respect. We absolutely must have respect and give respect and feel respect. Healthy relationships are not perfection. They are not. They're not built on perfection. They're just built on awareness. So awareness changes everything. Remember, it's not about the zeros. It's about creating the life and the relationships that truly support the future that you want to build, not someone else, but creating the future that you actually want to build. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you do all this wonderful homework so that you can know where you're at when you're dating, your love, and your relationships, and pass this on to your friends. Make sure they pass it on to their youngins that are jumping into relationships in their 20s and 30s, and like we've all starting over at one time or another. So I hope you can pass this information on, and then you feel really good about it. And I want everyone to be able to say, I rock my finances.
We appreciate you joining us today, and don't forget to subscribe to the Rock My Finances YouTube channel for more engagement and bonus content. Tell me, what is your money story? Let's find out with Jennifer right here on K4HD Radio and Talk 4 TV. It's not about the zero, it's about the F word, feelings. Feelings Jennifer can't wait to explore with you next week. Until then, let's all say, I rock my finances.